Okay, everybody, rise and shine. Morning.
Morning.
For the record, I am Gil Cedillo. This is the Housing Committee. This is a special meeting today, Wednesday, August 14th, 2013. We are here in room 1010, City Hall, 8:30 a.m., here at 200 North Spring Street, Los Angeles, California. I am accompanied by my colleagues, Councilmember Joe Buscaino and Councilmember Curran D. Price. We have a short agenda, but one that is essential so that we can move forward. We are working as a courtesy and collaboration, as we love to do with the mayor of the city, and we're going to review his appointment today. So we are ready for our report.
Item number one.
Item number one.
Item number one is a communication from the mayor and the City Ethics Commission relative to the appointment of Ms. Ty Glenn to the Rent Adjustment Commission for the term ending May 20th, 2014.
Thank you for saying that.
For the record, this item is in council today at 10 a.m.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, council members. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Good morning.
I'm very excited to have been proposed by Mayor Garcetti as a member of the Rent Adjustment Commission. Housing and the safe, affordable housing for families and other people in Los Angeles has been my dream since the moment I arrived in Los Angeles in 1987, wondering what I was going to do with my life. And seeing the homeless situation here in the city in 1987, I was sitting there wondering, I graduated from college, what am I going to do with my life? I want to be in public service. I might want to be a lawyer, I'm not sure. And walking into the city and seeing something I'd never seen before just immediately cemented me to the fact that the issues of housing for folks was what I wanted to focus on, and that's what I've done for most of my career. I actually have not been in the housing arena for about 5 years. In my work life, I focused on other issues, pro bono attorneys to help low-income folks, and now I'm running the 11 Quinn Family Law Center, helping families with their family law issues. But I've remained interested in housing the entire time, and have served as a member and chair of the People Assisting the Homeless's Housing Corporation for many years now, over 5 years. And so this, for me, is just another opportunity to serve the city and to serve people who are providing decent housing in the city, and to serve folks who are looking for decent housing in the city.
Okay, great. Do we have questions? Yes, sir.
Miss Glenn, it's great to be here, and you're joined by your daughters, and I thank you for your commitment and your interest into serving the city of Los Angeles. And calling on Mayor Garcetti's appointment, I want to thank you for your commitment. And then we met yesterday in council briefly, and I've gotten some calls from the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles who expressed some concern about your role in being an advocate for tenants across the city of Los Angeles. Can you explain to this committee how you plan on balancing the effort of being a tenant advocate, but also ensuring that property owners across the city also have a fair share?
I understand.
Or a voice in the process.
And I understand why AGLA might have some concerns, because they've only seen me or only know of my role really as an advocate for tenants facing a housing problem. Perhaps a landlord-created housing problem, perhaps not a landlord-created housing problem, but only in that situation. That's the role they've seen me in as a housing advocate. In law school, I was trained in two things. First of all, to be an advocate for someone if I was their attorney. And even in that role, I learned to see both sides of something and then apply the law to the facts that would assist my client. But I was also trained to see both sides of an issue and to balance it and to apply the facts to the law and a lot of the facts and come up with a resolution that in fact carried out the meaning of the law. And so that is something I was trained to do and something I have done. I've done it as a rent stabilization commissioner for the city of West Hollywood. I've done it as a member of the People Assisting the Homeless Housing Committee, where I'm actually more a landlord, really. I mean, not a landlord, but I'm more a landlord than a tenant. We build decent, affordable housing, and I'm well aware how difficult that is to do. And so I can say that one of the greatest services a person in the city can do is to provide decent housing for people who are living here. There's such a shortage of it. So I realize that they've only seen me in my role as advocate, but in fact, I'm capable of being an adjudicator as opposed to an advocate. I've been trained to do it, and I've done it. And I think it will serve the people in the city of Los Angeles for me to do that. The job of a commissioner on the Rent Adjustment Commission is to apply the facts to the law and the law to the facts and make a decision. I don't get to pick the laws. They are what they are when I apply the facts.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Glenn. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
You referenced your experience in these issues in other cities and in your professional training. Do you think this Rent Adjustment Commission, the Rent Adjustment Bureau, has been effective? And what kinds of changes would you like to see, or would you propose, or would you advocate for to help it achieve the goals that it's designed to do?
Well, having taken a quick look after having been out of the housing arena for 5 years and taken a quick look, this has happened sort of quickly, what I see is that actually the Rent Adjustment Commission is very lucky to have a very strong staff and good staff support. I think the things that I see from what research I've done, and some of it's not available, is we could do with stronger attendance at the Rent Adjustment Commission by commissioners.
Stronger what?
Attendance by some of the rent adjustment commissioners, so I would certainly dedicate myself to having great attendance. And there was a backlog at one point of cases. It looks like that's cleared up, and the case log is in good shape, and so we can do things in an expeditious manner so that people don't have to wait for the results. So I really think the important part is being timely and being there.
Any thoughts on improving the communication between tenants and
landlords?
And landlords, yeah.
Not sure the Rent Adjustment Commission is a place that the commissioners can do that, because once again they're in this adjudicatory role as opposed to a mediation role. But I do think letting both sides have their opportunity to say their position and then to explain clearly the reasons for the decision and the way that you applied the law is the best thing that a commissioner can do for that communication.
Thank you.
Mr. Fuentes? So let's talk about your views on the 3% minimum rent increase. Under what circumstances do you think it should be waived or adjusted? Do you think, under what circumstances would you see it frustrating the purpose of maintaining a quality stock of affordable housing?
The rent stabilization ordinance provides for a fair return that someone can stay in business with. And so I think that each and every case would be completely different depending on the facts of the building and so forth. And so I'm not sure I can speak to that with any specifics except to say I do think there are times that number isn't appropriate based on the facts. There could be. I haven't seen any facts in many years, but I can imagine that there would be a situation where, for some reason, but I can't think of any specific facts right now. I'd have to see the case.
Okay. Do you have any thoughts on amendments to the RSO?
I don't know of any specific ones now. I've been out of touch with the RSO. I need to get up to speed again, but I think that any amendment that makes it easier to use for both the landlord and for the tenant, that makes it clearer to folks how it operates and provides more stability in the way rents are handled would be a good amendment. I don't know where that stands at the moment, but I know as an advocate for housing, I found there were situations where it's very confusing to both the tenant and the landlord exactly what they were supposed to do, and I think anything that clarifies that would be a good amendment.
Okay. Who else? Any other questions before we call witnesses or public comment?
Thank you, Ty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Catalina Orozco, please. Oh, boy, are we so happy to see her this morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
First of all, Mr. Cedillo, you had asked me to see you at your office. Being that I have court, Superior Court tomorrow, I will go after that to see you.
We will be there.
And I'm here to oppose on this amendment, on the subject of appointing of Ms. Glenn. So we could have a equal
Balanced?
a balance of fairness in the housing department.
Okay.
Yes?
You know, we will be there in our office from 9 to 5.
I'm sorry, I cannot hear.
We're going to be at my office from 9 to 5.
9 to
So
5.
you go do your business, and then we will still be there. Okay?
I'm sorry, I can't hear, but my son will tell me.
Yes, you will.
My son will tell me.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kenny Sanchez.
Good morning, Council. My name is Kenny Sanchez, property owner, and I too strongly oppose. I'm looking to see a well-balanced panel with 3 renters, 3 owners, and possible a private party. So that way it could be well-balanced and make everybody satisfied.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Ruth Sarnoff.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a bit concerned about the business model that's used here in Los Angeles by the city council and by the city government. I would refer you to an article that I just read this morning in the business section of the Times on corporate welfare is alive and well at a mall near you.
Mr.
And,
Chair, she's not
I
speaking
wanna
to the
speak-
item.
Yes, Ruth,
What?
I want you to bring that, it's a good background. I want you to bring that to the appointment, okay?
I thought we were on the appointment still. Aren't we on number 1?
Yes, we are. So I want you to tell me how that relates to the
Oh,
qualities
well, I'll tell you,
and
it's
qualifications.
taking my minutes. I'm trying to get there. Okay? I just lost about
That's okay.
12 minutes.
I'll give you.
I wanted to say that the whole idea that we have to give tax exemptions and that costs the city lots of money in terms of tax revenue, and the fact that this appointment is, I think that there needs to be some kind of place where tenants can have a more vocal opportunity to interact with the city. And I also think there's a taxpayer issue. You mentioned, I believe, the property owners and the tenant as a tenant advocate and property owner advocate. Also, there's the question of the taxpayer and what money for education or for other kinds of programs that are very important, particularly here in Los Angeles, that could happen if there were a fair tax break. This one deals with Westfield, and I'm bringing it to your attention because this is something that the council took action on recently, and Westfield is one of the big mall builders. They have malls all over, I think 22 in either LA County or California, maybe it is, and they're, the last one that was funded was right between 2 places where there was already functioning Westfield businesses.
Thank you. Mr. Hui?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the LA City Council. My name is Bill Huey. I'm the president of Fair Housing Coalition. We're a landlord organization that believes in equality under the law for landlords and renters. We have an idea. Here's the idea. Right now, as the rack sits right now, you have two ladies on there. One who came from West Hollywood, who voted 0 rent increase for landlords for years and years, even though our overhead keeps going up. And the other one used to work for a law firm that sues landlords. And if this lady gets on there, and I don't know her personally, but if she worked for a law firm that sues landlords, it's a biased background. I mean, if all you see is bad landlords, you're going to have a bias. What I believe is a solution, and it's fair, because the LHD, the way it works now, is not fair. I know many of the management people who confided in me personally that they can't do their job according to their conscience. But speaking to the RAC, which is also the appeals board for the general manager's hearing, you should have either 3 or 4 landlords on the board and the same number of renters. We're not anti-renters. Renters are our customers. Now, say you have 3 landlords and 3 renters. Okay, you put a person in the middle who's neither a landlord nor a renter, maybe a person that owns his own home and he's not in the housing business. And then, when people come before the board with an issue, they can vote, and if there's an impasse, then this person can be the tiebreaker. And that would be some degree of fairness for renters and landlords. This should be about equality. At one time, there were 900,000 rental units in the city of LA. Not that long ago. Now we have less than 700,000. Landlords have gotten the message. They're taking their money and they're getting out of LA. And that's the way it is. And I know we're building a lot of affordable housing, but I have tenants in my building who pay $400 a month, and I don't think they're going to get into affordable housing building for $400 a month. I mean, they might knock off $300 off an $1,800 one bedroom, but the poor people can't afford that, and we don't want to see more people homeless. Let's fix the structure of the LA housing. The way it works now is immoral and unfair. Thank you.
Bill, thank you. Jim Clark?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I'm Jim Clark with the Apartment Association of Greater Los Angeles. We represent about 8,000 rental property owners and housing providers across LA County and Ventura County. I met Ty Glenn probably about what we agreed 10 years ago, and I really haven't followed her career, but I was kind of alerted when I read that the job description was the housing director at Legal Aid Foundation, which is a tenant organization, tenant advocacy group. I was pleased to hear your questions of her, and I was actually pleased to hear her answers. I know it's very difficult to stave off a mayoral appointment, but I just want to share this message of fairness. And I hope that she will be fair on that commission. Along the same lines as Mr. Huey was saying, we'd like to see some folks that have ties to the housing industry maybe appointed. Maybe you can send that message to the mayor. I know there's one or two maybe appointments left for that particular commission. I'm not sure, but we would certainly like to see a level playing field and that particular commission be fair. Thank you again, and that'll conclude my comments.
Thank you. Applause for fairness. Let's have finally Mr. Larry Gross.
Good morning. My name's Larry Gross. I'm with the Coalition for Economic Survival, and I'm here today to voice my wholehearted support for Ty Glenn's approval to the Rent Adjustment Commission. I applaud the mayor for making such an excellent choice. The city could not ask for a more qualified and dedicated person to serve in this position. Ms. Glenn has been an advocate for the rights of the poor and low-income individuals for almost 20 years. Her work with Legal Aid Foundation and now with the Levitt Quinn Family Law Center has provided Ty with the necessary tools and knowledge for this position. Some landlords today have expressed their opposition because of her support for tenants' rights and rent control. But the responsibility of a rent adjustment commissioner is to uphold and oversee the provisions of the rent control law. The person needs to be committed to that law and to making it work at the same time ensuring that it's fair to both landlords and tenants. Ty Glenn has the ability and experience to do this. She has done it before, serving as a rent stabilization commissioner for the city of West Hollywood. I supported Ty for her position with the city of West Hollywood, and now I'm thankful for the opportunity to support her for the RAC position today. We are fortunate to have such a fantastic nominee to serve the people of Los Angeles, and thus I urge you to vote in support of Ty Glenn for the Rent Adjustment Commission. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm waiting for a motion.
I'll move to approve. Item 1.
We have a motion to approve. I need a second. We have a second? Second. Moved and seconded. Call the roll.
Okay. Councilmember Cedillo, Councilmember Price, Councilmember Fuentes, Councilmember Buscaino.
Aye.
The approval.
Congratulations. Yep.
We'll see you in council.
Thank you. Yes, we're going to now item 2.
Item 2 is a communication from the mayor regarding the appointment of Mr. Ronald Lowe to the Rent Adjustment Commission. And we would recommend this item be received and filed as the nominee has withdrawn.
Okay.
Move to receive and file item 2.
So move. Second. Yes. Okay, we have cards on item 2.
Oh.
Ruth, are you ready for us? This is to receive and file. This is the, right, that's the motion. So tell us why we should or shouldn't receive or file
I'm
this.
speaking as an individual, but today, but I'm also involved with Occupy Fights Foreclosures. We deal with a lot of people who, because of fraudulent business practices and have seen their homes stolen in Los Angeles, and we're kind of one of the eviction capitals of the world and have a lot of problems there. So I want to cut to the chase. What I want to say is I think that in relationship to the new appointments and to general, some of the stuff that's going to come up at City Council today even, the timeline is too short. And process-wise, when you hand this big a document, this was, I think, maybe approved yesterday. It was for Tuesday Council, number 17, on Harbor Village apartment projects. You know,
Ruth,
I looked
Ruth,
at
Ruth,
it,
Ruth,
and
Ruth.
I'm saying
Ruth?
this project,
Ruth.
you know,
Listen to me.
well, I'm getting to the point.
Listen to me. Listen to me. I need you to focus this discussion. Right now, we are receiving
Right.
and filing, and that's the parameters of the discussion. So I need you to focus on that.
Okay.
Why you're for it or against it.
I don't know. And I think probably most of Los Angeles doesn't know. That's my point. We need some way to be able to air these nominations. There's not much interaction at a city council level. What happens is by the time it gets to city council, it's a yes or no, and it's usually unanimous decision. So we don't see the interaction there. If we don't see the interaction in committees, where is it going to come? So I'm posing that question. I also, in the Harbor Village apartment projects thing, it was obvious that the length of the qualified project period, I don't see it stated in there, and yet this is going to be housing that's going to transition to market value rental level. I mean, these are big things, and they're 30 and 35-year length bonds out there. That is a lot of profit.
Thank you, Ruth. Kenny Sanchez, for or against receiving and filing the communications from the mayor?
I oppose it.
Okay, thank you. Catalina Orozco, on the matter before us.
I oppose to the appointment as looking for a fair housing
Okay,
team.
thank you. And finally, thank you. Dr. Tom Williams.
So you step down.
Okay. That concludes discussion. We've already voted and taken action on this. And item 3.
Item 3 is a Los Angeles Housing and Community Investment Department report and CAO report relative to approval to issue letters of commitment for projects selected through Round 2 of the 2013 Affordable Housing Trust Fund, Nofa.
Good morning, council members. Madeline Rackley with the CAO. The report before you concerns one-time funding that was made available through the State California Housing and Community Development Department for affordable projects that are near transit stations or for infrastructure development near transit stations. And the Housing Department released a call for projects to build affordable housing projects near these transit stations. The applications were due in July. There was quite a short turnaround time on this from the state. By the way, it was not a Housing Department timeframe. And the department reviewed and scored the applications and recommends that 7 of the 9 applicants be provided with letters of funding availability, and that those developers then will go forward and apply to the state for funding for those projects. In addition, in this report, Housing requests approval to execute an assignment and assumption agreement for the transfer of the $14.7 million that related to the Crenshaw Mid-City Corridors Proposition 1C Infill Infrastructure Grant. And finally, Housing requests and the CAO recommends adding a recommendation that was inadvertently omitted from the original report. And that I will read into the record. It would be recommendation number 2M as in Mary, and it would be as follows: execute a deed in lieu of foreclosure with Meta Housing Corporation for the Buckingham Phase 2 site recently transferred from the former CRA LA to cease proceedings and provide 110 units of affordable housing for seniors as required under the Crenshaw Mid-City Corridors Infill Infrastructure Grant, subject to the approval by the city attorney. And those are the actions that are before you today. And I am joined by representatives from the Housing Department who can also answer any specific questions you have on the projects in this report.
Great.
Good morning, council members. My name is Manuel Bernal. I am the Director of Finance and Development for the new Housing and Community Investment Department, formerly the Los Angeles Housing Department. First of all, I want to thank you all for accommodating us in this special meeting. We don't run business this way. I apologize. But as Maddie mentioned, we had a unique opportunity to act quickly to capture some state funds for TOD housing. The heads up was really short, and we figured that we'd try to make the deadline. Today is the deadline to submit applications by these developers to the state. Again, at stake is more than $30 million of state money that we can bring to the city and build some affordable housing that's greatly needed. So again, I apologize for the rush. I would like to say that I'll never say never, but we hope that this never happens again. We are in the process of establishing what we are calling a managed pipeline. That managed pipeline will set up essentially 24 projects that we will focus on, and we will be able to pull from those projects as other people's funds become available. So no need, hopefully we'll avoid the rush. The applications are due on the 19th of August, so we're eagerly awaiting applications to come in for that managed pipeline. And we'll review them, and then we'll come back to council and confirm the managed pipeline with all of you. So for future business, then that's the way we want to conduct ourselves, and again, try to avoid these last-minute appearances before you. It's a burden for you, I understand. It's certainly a burden for us as well. So we'd like to avoid that in the future. And finally, before I turn it over to Tim Elliott to talk a little more on the specifics of the request, I'd also like to echo the sentiments of Ms. Rackley, is that, again, we inadvertently missed the recommendation regarding the transfer of the deed in lieu of foreclosure. It was in our staff report, but we didn't put it as a recommendation, so I'd like to mention that as well, so I apologize for that. And Tim will share the specifics on the request in more detail. Tim?
Hi, I'm Tim Elliott, Manager of Multifamily Finance at HSID. So what's before us today is the request for $10 million for 7 transit-oriented development housing projects, and also the request to be the grantee for there's a TOD loan and a TOD grant, and the city is the eligible applicant for the TOD grant. So we're asking for authority to be the applicant on those. So as Manuel said, there's over $30 million in Prop 1C funds that are available. I think there was $43 million for Southern California, and we'd like to grab the majority of that. We've been very lucky with that program in the past. I think we've done 5 projects. These are poster child type transit-oriented development projects. Some of them are right across the street from train stations. One in particular in CD1, at the Highland Park station, that's a housing department initiated project. It's the air rights over a DOT lot, which I think is a good opportunity for us to replicate that in other parts of the city. We're also asking the authority to take the assignment of a grant from CRA that was Prop 1C monies from a prior round, and that will help produce another 100 units of housing and infrastructure associated with the new LAX Crenshaw line. We're going to work with Metro to negotiate an MOU to bring back with you, and there will be about $7 million of infrastructure improvements that are what are categorized as betterments. It's enhancements to the streetscape that Metro wouldn't normally do. Bike lanes, bus shelters, pedestrian-friendly crossings, and so forth. And so that'll be coming back to you, as will recommendations for tax credits for all these projects that are successful. And again, thank you for having this special meeting. The state extended their deadline for 2 weeks, which actually helped us be able to do this.
Questions from the committee?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, when is the third, this is the second Nofa round, when's the third one likely to occur?
Well, we're actually shifting gears, and as Manuel said, we're going to be doing we're going to be calling it a call for projects, which will essentially be the third round this year. But that we'll have then this pipeline of projects, and we won't be having individual funding rounds. We'll just bring projects forward as funding opportunities come up.
Now, has this pipeline been established yet then? Do
No,
you have
we're going
these
to take applications
projects in the queue, or what's?
We're going to take applications on the 19th, and there's a scoring and rating system, and then we'll come forward with the recommendations, hopefully before October, when the county is scheduled to have its funding cycle.
And this item 7, the Washington 722 TOD, where exactly is that?
It's on the Blue Line, close to the Blue Line station. It's 722 Washington. It's just as the...
Is that the address?
Yes.
Okay.
722 Washington.
But
Figueroa?
east of Trade Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, Figueroa.
Where you get to the curve there.
Hope. Any other questions? Move to approve. Okay.
We have speaker cards on this item.
I do?
Yes.
Adam Rice. Adam, good morning.
How you doing?
Good. Yes, sir.
Good morning, committee, and especially it's nice to meet you, Mr. Buschiano. I apologize if I murdered your name, but I'm one of your constituents, actually, and I am the co-director of the Los Angeles Anti-Eviction campaign. We work in your district mostly. What we've seen in the TOD development is, I mean, how do you look at this report, really? And how would you turn down 100 units of affordable housing? How do you say that? So of course, you know, we want that to go through. We want more housing to be built because we're continually losing it. And I know this isn't, I know that Ruth sort of discussed the proposal for Jordan Downs, which we still believe needs more review. But definitely anything along the TOD line, just past experience that showed us needs a community impact report, which has not been filed with this. I mean, I guess the timing is convenient, even though these funds have been known to exist, you know, and even though an actual review process that went through the people of Los Angeles could have been conducted. But now the application is due on the 19th. So my recommendation is go with it, because we need it. But also, as the Housing Committee and as our mostly new Housing Committee, we really need you, as the people of Los Angeles, to set up for us some sort of real review process for these things. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, Ruth, starting off, please, on the matter. Of accepting these projects
yes.
to build this housing. You for it or against it?
Ruth Sarnoff. I'm definitely for affordable housing. And I'm for a comprehensive plan to end homelessness in Los Angeles, which our new mayor alluded to in one of his campaign times that he was committed to this. I'd like to see a report on how we have a comprehensive plan for ending homelessness here. And I, as one who works with a lot of people being evicted because of mortgages, I see the ramifications of public policy. I want to ask a couple questions, and maybe some of the staff who's still here can answer it. Okay, this is what was given to the mayor on August 1st, to the council on August 7th, and I don't know how many of you sitting up there have read or looked at it, but we even have new terminology for things like tax exemption, and it looks to me like there's a whole new corporate relationship structure and banking structure being set up right within City Hall. And that's disturbing to me that, that the people who may be writing and contributing most to our long-term indebtedness here in Los Angeles are destroying the future of our children. 35-year loans are horrible. 40-year loans are even worse. Some school districts now won't even talk to people about long-term loans because it's cost them so much over time, and it takes so much public money. So I'm pleading for you for some humanity.
Thank you. Bill?
I was going to speak general public comment, not on that issue.
Are we having general public comment?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Bill, coming up, general public comment.
Yeah.
Close the morning up for us.
Yes, sir. Good morning again.
Yes, I think we did, right?
No, we took public comment for item number 3.
Thank you.
Also, by the way, this item is in council today, and also this item has been amended by the CAO.
I move to approve as amended, sir.
Thank you. Second? Second, we'll call the roll. Approved, unanimous, we're good to go? No objections?
No objection.
Thank you. Okay, Bill, let's close this up.
Okay, I'll make it fast. In the spirit of being honest, I brought together 2 large law firms and a couple of LA's biggest landlords, and we filed 3 lawsuits against the LHD a week ago Monday, and it was served as city attorney's office. That's in the works. Ironically, I'm in the media, I host a radio talk show. I got a phone call from a producer at a major television network, like a 60 Minutes type show, and they want to do an expose on the LA Housing Department. I'm just telling you that the problems that I'm talking to them about way before any of you came on board, so I'm not going to smear anybody. But it's a policy problem that's been put in years ago. And the very funny thing, I'm sharing this openly, I can't say the name of the network, and they asked me to keep it low, but the producer, his dad is a landlord in West LA, and his dad is going through such a horrendous nightmare with the LHD. The producer thought maybe my dad and the inspector don't get along or something. So he did a Google search and my name came up, and I told him a couple horror stories, and they called me back, and the network gave a budget to greenlight a big documentary on this. So it's not going to be pretty, but I think it's going to bring things up to the surface and need to be changed. For example, there's no due process at general manager's hearing. Helen Morales, a landlord can't say a word edgewise. She screams at him. I have CDs I've gotten through the information requests where she's screaming at me. I mean, you'd think I was attacking her in a parking lot at midnight. There's no due process. And then yet the tenants can say whatever they want. It's just the way it's been structured, and it's a cultural problem. And like I said, I've talked to some of the people, even in higher management, who have told me, don't ever mention my name, don't ever say I said this or that, but they just can't do things according to their sense of right and wrong. And we have some big ideas. We have 15 ideas on how to change the housing department. We're not anti-renter. They're our customers. I know some of these renters groups, they're aligned with lawyers who sue landlords, so they like things the way it is because it's all about suing landlords. But a lot of mom and pops are going out of business, and I'll send each one of you a copy of my report, my suggestions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes all matters before us.
I think we have one more card, sir.
I don't think so. Do you have one?
I guess that concludes.
Adam spoke. That was general comment. That concludes all matters before the committee. Ruth, we called you up on general comment. Come on. Come. We're going to listen to you. I don't see your card, but we're going to listen to you. We don't want to. You didn't comply with the procedure, but we're going to make an exemption for you.
This is number 4. I really would like to have some attention put to getting community impact reports. Now, when it says there isn't one, I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that those putting together that item made no effort to contact and have meetings with interested individuals and groups who are very well known here in the city for their interest in certain areas of work, including housing is a big one. And I don't know what committee or committees have come here before you before on some of these. We have 6 new city council members. All those members are voting members. They're all there looking at, they need to understand that we need more process. We need more questions. We need to see the discussion of the things that are coming before council. And when they come through, it actually skews support for things that are basically, the objective is very good. If it was being carried out that way, that would be fine. But when we have to give tax incentives and come up with new words like subvention, which is another word for tax exemption, and we have a newly structured committee structure, I mean, some thought needs to be put into the extremely high amount of visibility in the city council and influence that big banks who are slumlords and are not being taxed for their blight, and there's a Deutsche Bank suit of People versus Deutsche right now on the fact that blight's not being taken care of.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes all public comment and our business for the day. Thank you.